Let's have a look at some plants then, since I'm watering. Now this plant here, I don't know where you say its name, but it's on the tag. Cryptanthus, that's right. This particular Cryptanthus is hanging behind this net curtain. It's usually a much brighter green, but since there's a lot of sun getting to it, it'll have a much redder hue. It's in a hanging pot, which I know doesn't make a lot of sense. This is kind of interesting. If you look up at the bottom of this pot, you can see moss. Look, there's a nice colony of moss, and this is coming out the bottom of this here, which is Bulbophyllum frostii. So it's got two new bulbs coming away on it. Last year's ones are not very big. I'm kind of pointing at it now. The other one is kind of right there. So this thing just stays moist all the time, as you can see. You got that moss growing. Frostii has a nice compact growth habit. If you're to grow it on a mount, you got to keep it moist all the time. That's the hard thing about bulbophyllums. They got to be moist all the time and have high humidity. Something that's really easy to grow indoors if you just have a sunny spot is your Tillandsia eucinoides. And this has lots and lots of orange little blooms on it, 3 petals that are reflexed. And the fragrance, as soon as night comes, out comes the fragrance. A lot of it. And these Tillandsias that I'm about to water today, I spray them every day. They seem to be healthier than just having a soak once a week. Even this one here is like absolutely covered. Yeah, rather than just soaking them once a week, I noticed that during the spring and summer time, the plants are much healthier if you just spray them every day. Everything else that caught my eye is how fast this Hoya sorry about that, CV Ruthie. Just see that label. She has these big spectacular orangey yellow blossoms. We'll see what the fragrance is like, but it's putting out some big leaves. Ruthie. It's a cultivar. That means that it was something special that popped up at the nursery somewhere in Thailand. They noticed that it was different from the rest. So it's got a cultivar. It's become a cultivar. Something that naturally happened in cultivation rather than in natural circumstances. And that one's looking really great. It's just got plain green leaves, but the flowers are going to be rather special. Next to it is just this is just a Hoya kerrii variegated, but always wanted to have one, so I finally found one. It's starting to grow now. It's getting some new growth there. Next up to water, this is Phalaenopsis here. I'm going to take it down and water it, because if I don't, water will rush out through the holes all over the floor. Off to the sink you go. Whoop. This is the Hoya sunrise. You can see there, these fresh green leaves, this new growth. Vines are coming out everywhere. Been checking the peduncles to see if there's any activity. You can just see the beginnings of buds. This is part of a division of a much larger plant that I split in two, so one part is in another room. And this one hangs up here, if I can reach. There we go. As it gets too much longer, I can't afford to let it get too heavy. So sometimes I trim it a little bit. As long as it's getting new peduncles, then it's fine. Yeah. I have so many plants pushing and fighting for space. It helps to create that jungle look or interest, because every level has different plants. I saw a fungus gnat, so I cut off some sticky trap, kind of like that. And just place it on top of the soil, because that's where they hang out. If it can come off my finger. Okay, no. Don't want to come off my finger. Alright, there we go. No. Okay. There. Probably this Tillandsia leaf will get caught on it, no doubt. But if you see like one or two fungus gnats, it still means that your plant's fine. If you have a mass of them all over the potting soil, it could be the signs of root rot. So sometimes they're good indicators how the soil is, and if you do think the soil is, or the roots are rotting, you can just smell it. If you have a odor coming out of the potting mix, then you know you got root rot. But if you have no smell whatsoever, just the smell of fresh moss, then the soil's fine. I've got to replace this one. It's getting a bit weathered or grotty, so I've got to take that one out and get another one. Well, this Hoya Matilda is definitely got all those new vines coming off it and producing peduncles, but I've said this before, I've tried just gently, well, not even bending them, just gently tying them back onto the wreath there, and the tips just die straight off. So what I'm going to do is let them grow and form peduncles and flower, and then after that I'll try to gently position them. Yeah, but for now it's growing really well. It does have a few yellowing leaves, but those are very old. And it's watering day for this beast, so let's go. Right, here it is back here. I don't know if you can see just there. just catch a glimpse of. Slow release. And the reason I put that in, I put it in a couple of times. I put it in during the winter and from the springtime. Those particular ones seem to release quite a lot of fertilizer, and being a fertilizer like that, when I do water it, I water it until it's overflowing, and then I tip it to tip all the water out, because that'll just get rid of the excess salts that might be in the water reservoir. And then I tip some more water in from the bottle just to top it up again, just to make sure that it's not too salty. But it has these very nice leaves. You can see there, nice shiny, healthy, slightly pubescent. Very ovate leaves, almost completely round. You can see there that these are new peduncles coming out everywhere, so we're going to have a nice show of sticky Hoya flowers. Yeah, so this plant is actually normally a lot of people would repot, but a pot-bound Hoya is fine. They naturally do that in their habitat. They like to be all comfy and have a nice tight root system. They're growing in crevices and trees, and the fertilizer is just to help it along. And the mix isn't anything special, it's just cocoa coir, little bark, and mainly pumice. And I put it in this terracotta pot just for extra aeration, and it does have the reservoir there that has a little water. It has water roots that actually go down in there. This one here is just a carnosa that was cut off my Crimson Princess. So it is growing and wrapping around. So that's okay. Yeah. Next I'm going to water these. Yes, every day these tillandsias get a little water. Today's water has a little nutrients in it, and I do have 2 spray bottles, so one of them doesn't have anything in it. And that's it. They seem to be happier that way rather than soaking them once a week. It's alright for the winter because it gets really cold, and if they're wet all the time they can rot, but during these warmer times you can spray them every day, and the plant is much healthier, as I said, going by the leaf tips. So the tips of this tillandsia's leaves are nice and healthy now. They're not dying like you can see there, because it was just getting far too dry. Well, you can do method number 2, soak them in water and then spray them every second day, but I just prefer to do it every other day. I'm pretty sure in their natural habitat they don't get water all day long, but they do get water every day somehow, whether it's a little rainfall or a cool misty morning. Update on Retusa, Hoya Retusa, is that you can see that it has the very dark green leaves are its new growths. 1, 2, 3, and I repotted into Akadama which is a kind of a porous, well draining clay, because like the Curtisii, it just didn't want to root into bark and cocoa coir. It just didn't want to grow any roots, and these two plants seem to like to have moisture all the time. They don't like to dry out. They're kind of similar to Hoya Bella in a lot of ways. And since doing that, I'm certain that this plant is coming back to health. Did drop a few leaves after that repot, but it is starting to get its health back, so we'll do more updates on that. Over here, this is Hoya Bella, and Hoya Bella has new growth there, growth there. They're pretty delicate. I did break one off the other day by accident. Another one there. This thing had its roots pretty much all broken up. I broke the root ball away. Not completely, but about half of it. And I did put it into the Akadama. It doesn't mean that you guys have to go running out and buy Akadama, but this is the best stuff that I have for these terrestrial Hoyas that like constant moisture, and it's kind of similar to a lithophytes mix, and the cacti like to grow in it too. It keeps moist, but it doesn't cause root rot, and it doesn't suffocate the soil. Yeah. And because it doesn't have a lot of organic in it, I'm not going to have thousands of fungus gnats buzzing around. And it does have a lot of minerals in it too, which is good for the plants. But this Hoya Bella is looking great now. Probably could have done with cutting more of the stem off, but luckily you can see here that it's actually produced the stem coming out of the old part in here too. So I'm happy with that. If it didn't do that and it was all sparse on the top, I probably would have given it another cut in a year's time, but much closer like that, chop here and chop there. It's shooting out everywhere, so that's good. And don't panic if your Hoyas get bald. They all do it naturally. They do it naturally in habitat, and in actual fact, going bald at the bottom of the stems like this is more common for a lot of plants, because they get bashed around, knocked about, bugs crawl on them, animals bump into them. Yeah, so actually our cultivated plants always look a whole lot better than in their habitat. And depending on where their seed germinates, a lot of them won't flower or do too well. They'll be just big bunches of green, luscious growth, and then you get others that just look perfect. So don't aim to get a perfect plant. Just have fun, grow. If you're not entirely satisfied with the growth, you can just move it a little bit. Yeah, it's normal. Here's something that a plant that you see here and there. It's the Peperomia Hope. That's a cross between two other peperomias, but there's not a lot of difference, except yeah, they look very similar to the parent plant. And this one I've broken stems off by accident, because I do bring my plants to the sink to water them, because I like to drain them out to get rid of that salt, as I've said. And after breaking off two long stems, I did break off another long one by accident, and I've propagated those, and since breaking them, you got 1, two, three new stems coming out of the top. So if it's getting really long and leggy like that, which I want to grow mine like that because it looks neat in amongst all my plants, but if you want it just to grow a whole lot more and get bushier, then yeah, cut some of the stems off. Yeah, it was a bit of a shock that day. I was watering and by the sink, and I was gently tipping out the water, and then off they came. But it's not all loss. You can actually see one here that I propagated about a year and a half ago, and it's got a nice family of moss in there. It's a nice plant to give away. A lot of you may think that I might be some kind of a AI robot, because I bring all of these plants to the sink and water them. And if you're interested in hiring me to fertilize and look after your plants, then we can crack a deal. Yeah, I'm up for hire. Or even look after your orchids. Just kidding. There's a lot of plants that I bring to the sink. I'll show you some here. It's Hoya Dakii. You can see it's got the reservoir of water there, and it's put out some really nice new leaves. We've got one there that's new, and this one here, which is still quite tender. A lot of new shoots popping up. That's a new leaf. This one is kind of thirsty. I learned that. So I keep some water in the reservoir and it drinks it all up, and it only takes a day or two and all that water will be gone. And this one here, I don't take this to the sink. I'll do it every now and then, but you can see all of these growth points are starting to activate now. And we've got 1, 2 new runners coming out. Calistophylla, Hoya Calistophylla, and it's got plenty of water in there. And this is its new leaf. What's interesting is that it grows leaves quite close to the base of the plant, which I like that because it kind of fills it in. And I'm just waiting for peduncles really. So it's a matter of just keeping, once that it drinks up all of that water, I'll put some more water in there. And I always use my nose because my nose is my pH meter. Here we go. Clean. Smells clean. But if there was any hint of bad smell, that would be an indication of root rot. And plants are not going to get root rot as long as you don't forget to fertilize them. If you don't fertilize your Hoyas at all, okay, then expect some root dieback, because they run out of nutrients and the plant's not going to invest time producing more roots and more roots into a potting medium that's void of minerals and nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and all of that. If it's void of a lot of nutrients, the plant will just go into survival mode, and then you get rot. But if you make sure that you fertilize, so you can see here you got those granules in there. Once I see that those granules are gone and I don't see any, I'm going to fertilize it again. I'm not going to wait. It says every 3 months, but I notice every 1.5 to 2 months those granules will be gone. Yeah, so this is the growing tip. How many times have I fertilized this Hoya Crimson Princess? I think it's already been 3 times now, and I don't hesitate to even fertilize in the winter as long as your room is about 15 degrees during the day. Go ahead, do not let those roots die, whatever you do. Don't let there's still a lot of information out there where you let your Hoyas dry right out and then water them again. That would be ones that you're growing out in the garden and they don't have cash pots or anything, and they just, pots don't have any saucer, the water just runs straight through, but you want to keep fertilizing them. See this huge peduncle? There must be 30 flowers on this. This plant has never done as good as it's done now by just doing those few things, and the cash pot has water in it. I did take it to the sink and water it, and then flushed it out, which means I just tipped the water out, excess, topped it up again. I don't have to do that every single time. Sometimes I do water it and don't bring it to the sink. But you can see that it's all paid off here. Yep. So if you think that's magnificent and I can look after your plants, then I'm pretty sure that you can hire me. And I'll probably enjoy looking after your plants too, if you don't mind. If your plants are bigger and more luscious than mine, then you can tell me to shut up and stop showing off here. But really, yep, there are a lot of you out there that have bigger, far more luscious plants than I do. And the thing is not to compare to anybody. You just grow your own and have some joy in it. And if somebody's is bigger and much better than your own, then just enjoy watching it. You know, I watch a lot of programs, people with beautiful big banders and different kinds of orchids that I can't grow here, but I enjoy watching it, and I just grow what I can. So this is all about just sharing and enjoying the hobby. And I'm sure a lot of you out there have got plants that I cannot, and I hope to grow, but I just don't have the climate for it. And I also like watching your plants too. That's why we all like going to those plant nurseries, because we see something new every time. And it's just an enjoyable experience. And it's something I got to do today. I got to get out on the bicycle and enjoy some weather. It's a nice day today, and see what I can see growing in the neighborhood. Okay, next up is Tillandsia number 1 and 2 here, Eusynoides. It's time to give them some water. You know, I never knew how cold hardy Tillandsia Eusynoides is until I watched some programs on YouTube. People who live in the native areas where they come from, and I saw Tillandsia Eusynoides hanging off a dry cliff on the roadside somewhere in Peru or northern Bolivia. This thing was blowing around like a rag, and in that particular area it's pretty dry. It's not humid at all. It's like almost 2,500 meters above sea level. These things are just really tough plants. Here we go. Good watering, spraying. I mean, it's just starting to build up a little extra. You can see it just starting to drip off, and that's about enough for it. I'm going to put this back now. This is like a big collection of different kinds of Tillandsias here. They're just stuck in the moss. There's something to root onto if they want. I just tried out all different kinds of ways to grow them, whether they're in little baskets of moss. I noticed in a little basket of moss, when I hang them up, they're easier to manage. This one is a little harder to hang up. enough water for today. I'm showing far too many Tillandsias, and some of you may be getting bored by now. I promise you this will be the last, or maybe that one. This one here finished flowering, and it's got 2 pups coming out right there, see? 2 babies. I hope it grows some roots onto this branch. This is a wreath of Tillandsias. We have one there. These ones with the more extreme cases of trichomes, which are those hairs all along the leaves, and they appear silver. They come from drier environments. Usually they grow as lithophytes and occasionally epiphytes. This one here is more of a desert growing variety, and starting to look better now. The growing tips are starting to look healthier. And the funny thing is that it doesn't make sense, but this one here and this one had a bad reaction towards not getting enough water. Once a week I would get a soak, and this one was on the same wreath here, but it didn't react as much to underwatering as this one did. So it goes to show you that even if they are growing in a desert, these particular deserts do get water somehow, whether it be during the night when it cools right down and they get like a foggy mist that collects on them. Now it's starting to look much more healthier. So that's kind of funny, isn't it? So all around, I'm just going to miss them every day. I think that's better for their health. Even this Tillandsia xerographica looks better when I spray it every second day. It's in a very bright window, the fan's on, so it's breezy in there. Its leaves are much more open. They were curling up, which is a sure sign, kind of like this one here. It's hard to show you properly, but you can see a leaf there. You can see these tips. I can just focus. We have a focus problem. Well, doesn't want to focus, but you know what I'm looking at. Oh, come on. Yeah, to avoid that, I've been misting this one every second day. And it's not a difficult job, just bring it to the sink, give it a quick mist over. Doesn't take more than a few seconds. Alright, some other plants that I'm just checking up on. Ischenanthus, yeah. It's in a not a very nice looking pot, but keeps the humidity and a little water in there. It's a very fast grower. I'm sure a lot of people have this. I really like it, this mottling pattern on the leaves. And next to it is another plant, and I'll put the name on the screen for you. It has very insignificant tiny flowers, which I'm pretty sure that's what that is. A little peduncle thing there that is struggling to focus. Come on. Give me some focus. Come on. Maybe here. Yeah, the flowers are pretty insignificant or tiny, but the plant's amazing how it grows. Grows in this very, very tightly set, alternate. Leaves are alternate, so they're arranged not opposite each other but staggered, and the leaves are pretty tight on the stem, so once it does get bigger you can imagine how that's growing down. Yeah. Next to it is a Hoya Fishkiniana variegated. It's in a glass grower here. This is going to push out some growth eventually. It's just trying to build up a nice big root system. Glass is a good way to see what's going on. And this is the Rhipsalis that I named wrong last time. Got a bit confused and I gave it the wrong name after its haircut. And this is the Dischidia rucifolia variegated, and rucifolia is going to move today over here because this this particular leafy plant here is getting a bit big. Schinapsis, glad the name came to me. Yeah, it's getting a bit big or long, and I want it to trail, so what am I doing? Better move. And over here I have a nice peduncle on Hoya Sunrise. And this interesting one here is also a Dischidia. It's a Dischidia hirsuta. And it has very, very fuzzy leaves and stiff cardboard-like disticus leaves. It's doing really, really well. Water it just once a week. It's not in a self-watering pot. Seems to be doing fine without one, so did not drop this because it's got a little. Alright. Its flowers are very tiny, little prostrate pink that don't open fully, pollinated by ants. This is a plant that's pollinated by ants, and according to what I've read, some of these leaves have tiny openings and are hollow, and the ants actually crawl inside the little tiny hole between the leaves, between the top and the bottom half of the leaf. There are like open cavities inside it, and the ants put their eggs inside and live inside the leaves, so the leaves are hollow. There's a lot of plants like that. Myrmicophilia, they call it. And this one's going to go back up over here. Sorry for the camera work on that hook. And it has the sheer curtain because morning sun is pretty harsh and they don't need it. It's not required to grow a healthy plant. Hope I would finish off this video with these Dendrobium monoliforme type. They've started to open the day before. We had some rain last night, that was good. Also starting to grow happily down there. You can see the offsets, new kings, and this one. This one is more yellow than the other one that I showed you underneath the shrub that's over there. So this started to bloom now. It's got a lovely yellow center, which I like. And is it fragrant? Oh yeah. Nice, sweet, lemony fragrance. And you can see down there it's starting to grow. So it's a nice happy orchid. Yeah, alright. That about finishes off today's video on watering. And I'm just looking at this one here. This one's got a lot of growth yet to do. It's actually got a new cane coming out there. So it's growing. Didn't flower though, but never know. It's got some new keikis too. Right there. I'm on a focus, huh? Yeah, that wraps up this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you found that interesting, and we'll see you again next time. Bye bye. There's always time for one more, so these also came into bloom. These are monoliformes. You can see growing on here. And up here we have one bud. And further up, this one didn't have any, but it's still a healthy plant. You just need more time to establish. This one has 2 buds on it. This one down here didn't get any. About this one, still in bud. Okay. Vanda falcata. It's on this tree. Looks nice and healthy. It's good. Be nice if it turns it into a decent plant and populates this tree with many new Vanda falcatas in the future. Alright. So that about does it. I just wanted to show you that before you go. And don't forget, looking after your plants isn't a chore. It's part of your self-care. So get outside, do some gardening, look after some plants. And if you don't have any, buy yourself a nice indoor plant and get to know it. Alright, see you next time. Bye bye.